ಗೌರಿ ಮೀಡಿಯಾದ ಎಲ್ಲ ವೀಕ್ಷಕರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದ ಖ್ಯಾತ ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ತಜ್ಞರು, ರಾಜಕೀಯ ವಿಶ್ಲೇಷಕರು ಆಗಿರುವ ಶ್ರೀ ಪರಕಾಲ್ ಪ್ರಭಾಕರ್ ಅವರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ಅವರು ನೀವು ಗಮನಿಸಿರೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೀತಾ ಇರುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ವಿದ್ಯಮಾನ ಏನಿದೆ, ಅದೇ ಆ ವಿಶೇಷ ತೀವ್ರ ಮತದಾರರ ಪರಿಷ್ಕರಣೆ, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ದೇಶದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಅವರು ಮಾತಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಬರಿತಾ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದಷ್ಟು ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅದರ ನೇರ ಪರಿಣಾಮಗಳೇನು ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದ ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರಸಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ನಾಗರಿಕತೆಗೆ ಏನು ಧಕ್ಕೆ ಉಂಟಾಗ್ಬೋದು ಅದರಿಂದ ಅನ್ನುವ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ಇವತ್ತು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಸಂದರ್ಶನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ವಿ. ಸರ್, ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಟು ಗೌರಿ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ. So we had a lot of discussions for the last couple of days in Karnataka. You have been attending all those, but this IR, which has now become a lot of, what's called the prime thing that people are talking about. Either way, either side. Those who deny it and those who say, no, there is something seriously wrong with that whole thing. So in the light of the discussion that's happening on SIR, I wanted to know that there was a time when Hindutva was the prime, motivator, we can say, to catch votes. And does it mean that now has it taken a backswing so that they had to look for other means for garnering votes?
No, actually, that construction is not right to me, to my mind. I'll tell you why. If you look at our electoral history, when BJS, the former avatar of present BJP, Bharatiya Janata Sangh, when it was out and out communal and its platform was majoritarian, Hindutva, Article 370, Uniform Civil Code, and so many other things.
CAA, maybe.
CAA,
Much later.
And Ayodhya, Kashi, wow, all those issues. Interestingly, the peak performance of Bharatiya Janata Sangh was in 1967.
In spite of less number of votes.
Peak performance was 9.7%.
Oh, okay.
They never even touched 10%. That was their peak performance. 71 was even less than 9.7%. By 77, they merged themselves into Janata Party.
Janata Party.
Janata Party. And then comes BJP in 80. 80, when they started with Gandhian socialism. Which means, the reason why I narrated these things is that whenever there were full-blooded Hindutva platform, the people of India have never accepted them. So, and Sridhar, you must understand this, the time when they were on a full-blooded Hindutva platform, communal platform, their leadership was very tall. They had Shyama Prasad Mukherjee. They had Guru Golwalkar heading the RSS.
All the tall figures.
They had Balraj Madhok. And, people who batted for Hindutva were somebody like Karpatri Maharaj and other people. All those forces put together, they could not touch 10% of the popular vote. And comes BJP with Gandhian socialism. Even then, they were not trusted. Then they started saying that, those three issues of Article 370, Ram Janmabhoomi and Uniform Civil Code are on the back burner, that they are not the issues now. So they went into a mode of common minimum program, national agenda for governance, trying to win allies, trying to win votes. That was the time with Vajpayee trying to show a liberal face of it, and then all these issues were put on the back burner, they were trying to get away from Hindutva platform, and then they could garner some votes and seats and allies, and they could come to government on a coalition,
Coalition
basis.
basis.
Okay. And please try to remember what was the platform of BJP even in 2014. See, when the demolition of the Babri Masjid took place, even that did not yield.
In Uttar Pradesh.
Uttar Pradesh, no,
Yes.
no, I'm talking about the demolition.
Demolition.
Even that did not give them enough votes. Advani, when he led, that did not give them. Much later, when they changed the tack, they got it. Now, 2014 platform was anti-corruption, bringing black money back, creating jobs, and ending policy paralysis, etc., etc. It was mostly economic agenda and anti-corruption agenda. And that time, anti-India against corruption, IAC movement was at its peak. So that benefited the BJP, and that time the prime ministerial face of the BJP campaign, Mr. Modi, went around saying that Hindus and Muslims are not going to fight each other, should not fight each other. In fact, we should have a moratorium on these issues. In fact, Hindus and Muslims together will have to fight unemployment and poverty. That was the platform. So that gave a bit of a mileage to them. See, Hindutva platform, out and out Hindutva platform, was not.
So you're saying that it was never
Yeah.
for them
Okay.
a definite vote catcher.
But
Does it mean that
let me complete the logic now. Then comes 19. 19 was also a dwindling base. Then
Yes.
Pulwama happens. And then a bit of a shoring up. Then in 24, they went out and out, again Hindutva platform, Article 370, inauguration of the temple in Ayodhya, and all that. Then the response was very lukewarm. They were doubtful about it. Then this whole exercise of the discrepancy, large scale discrepancy between provisional figures and the final figures, and phase 1, phase 2, phase 1 final figures were announced 11 days later. So what happened for 10 days?
The
It never
numbers
happened.
started growing also.
It never happened before. So on the whole, you had almost about 5 crore votes discrepancy between the provisional figure and the final figure of polling. That led to a change of hands of 79 seats across 15 states. This is in black and white, isn't it? So, when you had this kind of an out and out communal agenda, when people are not supporting you, they had to resort to this. So, it is the other way around. Because their Hindutva platform is not yielding the desired results, and they want to hold on to the state machinery, I think there is a propensity for them, there is an incentive for them, there is a compulsion probably for them to do these kind of irregularities.
But it doesn't mean that they have given up on that, but it's always there for them to revoke at will whenever they want.
Yes. But you see, it was a tactical move, saying that we've changed. We are not going to on that route. We have a very moderate face here and there, and that kind of a thing. Vikas, kind of a slogan, not something else. Now today, it is the other way around. Now, when this is not yielding, when they want to get into power or stay in power, they had to do all these kind of irregularities, encourage these kind of irregularities. This is one side of it. Then comes a stage where they also want to change the character of the Indian state. This is where the SIR comes in. No, this is something that we need to understand a little in detail. That is, Indian state, unlike European states and other states, is a different kind of a project and different kind of an experiment.
Given the culture of our
Because
land,
ours is a diverse country.
very diverse.
There is no religion on earth which is not represented in India.
True, true.
Every religion is here. And so many languages, so much of diversity, so much of inequality. With all this, our relationship between the nation and the state. Everywhere the relationship between the nation and the state is that whichever community is dominant, is a majority in the nation, tried to mold the state according to its needs and according to its preferences. But here, our founding fathers and founding mothers of our constitution, they wanted to have the state respect everybody, giving equal opportunity to everybody, giving equal respect to everybody. That is how they wanted the state to be. Which means that we were fostering political majorities, not looking at the communal majorities. See, there is a difference here. In the sense, I want the country to take a particular path. You want the country to take a different path. So you can propagate your vision for the country, economy, social policy, education, art and culture, all those things, and you canvas support and try to create a majority. I do the same thing for my vision and try to create my majority. And these majorities depend on the opinion of people who are with you.
There is also a line that
they are
bottom line called constitution.
They are political majorities. Majorities on the built on the basis of opinions.
Okay.
They are not built on the basis of identity. This is important. So, if you flip this and say that you are majority and this is your nation, and it ought to be your nation, no other people can be around, but without civil rights, without vote, without citizenship rights and all that. That is building a communal religious majority. Now, religious majority is going to be, communal majority is going to be permanent majority. Political majority is not permanent.
Yeah,
it is shifting.
It shifts.
So, the present project of the ruling dispensation is to create a permanent majority in preference to the temporary majority of political majority.
So you mean that would lead them to fulfill their agenda of changing the constitution? That's the point.
That's right, yeah. And what is the basis of that? The basis of our polity is that it is everybody's polity, everybody's political community, irrespective of region, religion, caste, language, etc., etc. So it is non-denominational citizenship political community. Now, if I want to make that a denominational majority, which is a permanent majority, then I will have to strip those minorities of citizenship rights. So there was an attempt, CAA, NRC. Then there was a backlash. So it stalled. So this is the rearguard action of creating a communal majority, stripping voting right to the people who do not belong to your community in the form of SIR. SIR is packaged in a way saying that it is just the cleaning up of the electoral roll. We are cleaning up all those dead people. Yeah,
it's like the reforms.
That's right.
Yeah. Another euphemism for whatever they want to do.
Yeah, but the intent, if you see in action, is those who are unlikely to vote for you are denied voting right. Those who are more likely to vote for you are retained as voters. which means we have entered a different stage of our democracy, where normally what happens, people choose the governments. Today, the government is choosing the
Choosing
voter.
the people. So there is a reversal of order.
Isn't it? So this is the situation where we are in. In other words, you see, in other countries, the state and nation, when they wanted to become one, coterminous with each other, the minorities were physically eliminated, either in gas chambers or in inquisitions or at stake, or they were put in reservations, they were put in killed Nagorno-Karabakh and Hungary and German Jews and all those things. But here now in 2025, you can't do this with bloodshed. Therefore, what we are seeing now in the form of SIR, I would understand this as a bloodless political genocide.
I think that puts it very succinctly. But it also brings us to this question that they tried to do it in earlier elections, particularly in Maharashtra, now in Bihar. So in Bihar, have they become more blatant in the sense that one can see the discrepancy, though it may still not be an issue with the people, but there are enough civil society organizations, media, which is focusing on basically the discrepancies that were so brazenly visible today. So where do you think it's going to lead us to? Will it really take us to making people beware of what's in stake for them?
Okay. See, 24 general election for Lok Sabha, Maharashtra, Haryana.
Yeah, 3.
These elections, many things were done, especially when you talked about the discrepancy between preliminary figures and the final
And the final
figures.
figures.
So that was in a way a bit of a sly operation. What is happening in Bihar is a outright
More
brazen
overt kind of.
because this is happening as a result of SIR. That was not as a result of
It was
SIR.
not SIR, it was something
It-
done
it was
during the
the-
election.
it was
This is
the-
something happening before the election.
It was the fudging of the fudging of the polling figures, fudging of the voting percentage. 100 people vote, but you count 120 votes. That kind of a thing.
So given the apathy that you have been talking about of the people about this issue, so do you say that, do you think that they're going to really experiment with this in other states also, because they have already started SIR in many states which are going for elections maybe next year?
Oh, see, they would like to do this. They've done it in Bihar. It is successful for them. In fact, you see.
But
for
they are
this-
doing it at the risk of exposing themselves, because a lot of things are already getting exposed. That's why I ask.
But you see, it has to be further exposed. Not only just exposed, people will have to stop this. And until it reaches that point, they keep on pushing. You see, for instance, we have to also understand, for instance, almost 60 lakh voters were deleted in Bihar. Initially it was 65, now it is, people say it's a varied number, it could be 55, it could be 40 to 45, or whatever. And they refused to, election commission has continuously refused to divulge the names of people who were deleted. Only on the insistence of the Supreme Court of India, at one point of time, they had to publish it, and till then they were giving a build-up before what that was weeding out of infiltrators and Rohingyas and Bangladeshis and things like that. But when the lists were published, they could not point out even one single Rohingya or Bangladeshi there.
See, Election Commission
Okay,
openly exposed itself.
that's one. But what happened was that now after all these deletions, Sridhar, the election was fought to get the votes of those people who remained on the electoral rolls.
List.
And they were there because the government willed them to be there. The government willed them to be there because the government or the ruling party thought that they are more likely to vote for them. And that is why you have 90% strike rate, isn't it? In fact, if this continues, why 90% could be 95% strike rate, 99% strike rate, even 100% strike
can.
rate, isn't it? This is one. So, if we don't stop, see, this is not only, please understand that this is not merely an electoral issue. It is an issue that has implications for the nature of the Indian state.
State itself. That's why, do you think, therefore, though we have to question and expose the election commission, the buck doesn't stop there. It has to go beyond that. So, where would you think it can lead us? Like, as you said, the very nature of the Indian state means the very idea of citizenry.
Exactly.
So,
It's much more serious.
much more serious.
It's not a question of who is minister, who is MP, who is prime minister, who is the chief minister.
That's
No,
not the issue now.
it's not.
The very idea of democracy is at stake. And see, you also mentioned one more point which I would like to bring it here before we close. That we in India, because of our diversity, we are always more passionate about our immediate identities, maybe based on race, religion, caste, etc., gender, etc., etc. But do you think that time has come for us that while these identities are important, they matter, there is a bigger identity called Indian citizen, which everybody should take up? Would you say that that can actually take us, perhaps?
That is the crucial question, Sridhar. Point is this. You see, if I'm a Buddhist, I don't have to cease to be a Buddhist. If I'm a Muslim, I don't have to cease to be a Muslim. If I'm a Hindu, I don't have to cease to be a Hindu. If I am a Telugu, I don't have to cease to be a Telugu. My identity is there. My identity, your identity, we can all coexist.
It's something that we got it by birth,
Yeah,
whereas this
it's
is
not our
something we
choice.
have earned.
It's not our choice.
Yes.
But we should steadfastly refuse identity to be politicized. I am not going to choose A or B on the basis of my birth. I am going to choose A or B on the basis of the program for India. That is the citizenship, not the identity. So, while retaining the identity, we should refuse to be politicized on the basis of identity. That is the main thing. I think that is the only solution. People will have to work on that while trying to fight these attacks on citizenship, trying to fight these attempts to delink the citizenship. And if you don't belong to majority community, your voting rights are taken away. You can be here.
That's the death of democracy.
That's the death of democracy. So it has to be a very carefully planned strategy. But before we end, I must also tell you one more thing, which I feel very strongly. This kind of a fight for the soul of India, for the idea of India, for our being a political majority and resist turning into a communal majority. These 3 or 4 things, you cannot outsource this fight to the political parties.
It has to be people's.
It has to be people's, one, and it has to be feet on the ground agitation, a peaceful agitation. It has to be a peaceful feet on the ground agitation to save India's democratic fabric, India's federal fabric, India's constitutional values of justice, equality, fraternity, secularism, socialist outlook. These are the things that we need to fight for it. One. The other thing is that political parties, if we sit back and say that let political parties fight, that's not going to happen.
That won't happen.
It won't happen. Therefore, we have to resist this political, bloodless genocide that is happening. It can be done and it ought to be done only by the people.
And history has enough examples in
Yes.
front of us
Absolutely.
where people have fought genocides, fought fascism. So thank you very much, sir, for bringing out these hidden factors, and more importantly, telling us very clearly that what is at stake is the very idea of democracy itself, and unless we save it, nobody is going to save it for us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.